Hey, folks, this clip is brought to you by Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey from Logsdale Distillery. Make your own luck, just like Tennessee football's fast-paced Rattle and Snap offense with Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey. We'll get it back here soon. But, all right, today's show, even still, you got stuff to talk about with Tennessee sports always. And this week, we're going to talk a little bit about something that Joe Milton had to say about the Florida game that made me sweat. And not necessarily in a good way, but I'm glad that he has the confidence that he has. I'll say that. We're going to discuss what he said. Then an interesting, I would almost call it an epidemic of bad lists that are coming out from college football media, and we're going to talk about that because often they love to bait Tennessee fans with bad lists, putting Tennessee and its players and coaches and things in stupid positions on these lists so that Tennessee fans will get outraged. We're going to talk about one of those. Baseball has been recruiting. Obviously, you lost Chase Burns, but you have gained two of the top transfer prospects in America so far. We're going to discuss that too. And then we got a little recruiting news that we're going to wrap up with. But before we get into all that, I got to tell you about our first amazing sponsor, which is the great folks at Omaha Steaks. Summer is here. Time to sit back and unwind with Omaha Steaks. Perfectly aged, always tender, and guaranteed delicious. Omaha Steaks is sharing an amazing limited time offer. When you go to omahasteaks.com and enter keyword Vols into the search bar, you'll be able to order the gourmet grill pack for just $99.99. Plus, you'll get 8 free Omaha Steaks burgers when you order. These burgers are legendary. I can attest. I've had them on multiple occasions now. They are incredible, and you should get them. They taste like a steak on a bun. Order now and save 61% on the gourmet grill pack, and that includes 4 bacon-wrapped fillets, 4 premium air-chilled boneless chicken breasts, 4 boneless pork chops, 4 gourmet jumbo franks, 4 made-from-scratch caramel apple tartlets, also amazing, and an Omaha Steaks seasoning pack. And then, of course, those 8 free burgers, too. Omaha Steaks isn't just steak. It's the best steak of your life. Guaranteed. Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com and type in Vols into the search bar, VOLS, and order the gourmet grill pack today. That is omahasteaks.com, keyword Vols. Go there now. Support them because they support us. Thank you. Thank you to Omaha Steaks. All right. So you wrote about this on A to Z Sports.com, Zach. But Joe Milton, what program was he on where he said this?
It was the Locked On SEC podcast. Give them some credit. It was their video.
Yeah, want to give credit where it's due there. He was on the Locked On SEC podcast, whatever network that may or may not be on. And, well, I guess just explain, what did he have to say on that show that stirred up some controversy?
Yeah, I think this was actually from a week or so ago. I kind of stumbled across it on YouTube, and the video didn't have that many views at that time, I don't think. A couple of hundred maybe. It was when Joe Milton was down at the Manning Passing Academy in Louisiana a couple of weeks ago. Peyton Manning and his family put on down there. And he was chatting with some media and some reporters, and they asked him how much it meant to beat Clemson in his home state of Florida. Joe Milton, of course, is from Florida and went to high school there before he signed with Michigan and eventually landed at Tennessee. And he said, it was very meaningful to beat Clemson. He said, I don't lose in Florida. I took that one to heart. Pretty much I take every game to heart, but I don't lose in Florida. And just kind of the way he said it and put that out there, it wasn't a question about, how do you perform in Florida or anything like that. It just knowing that they play in Gainesville, that they play the Gators in Gainesville this season, felt like Joe Milton's got a little something extra for that game. And who knows what that means, but I think he knew exactly what he was saying when he made those comments.
Yeah, this is interesting because it really highlights the difference in the way that players look at games played by Tennessee compared to fans. Because for people that don't know or listen to this show at length, I was the co-host of Jason Swain's show for a while there, the Swain event. And because of that, obviously, Swain himself is a former player. And through that show, I interacted with a bunch of former players. And none of them think about Tennessee the way that we all think about Tennessee. Like, they go into a game and they're like, yeah, Tennessee's going to win. Like that's we didn't come here to lose. We're going to win the game, and they don't think about it through this like damaged Vol fan perspective that we, the battered Vol syndrome that we all have. They don't think about it that way. They just come in because most of them they didn't grow up Tennessee fans. Some of them did, some of them didn't, but they just come into it with that player perspective of just like, no, we're going to go out there, we're going to play the game, we're going to, and we're going to talk our smack if we need to, and if we can't back it up, then we should. That's our fault. We should have backed it up. They just really don't come at it from the same perspective as fans. And Joe Milton here, obviously, he does not know the backstory with Florida and how damaged this fan base is when it comes to the Florida game. And obviously, lost on a Hail Mary, lost on the 4th and 14. And that's just in the last, 6 years or whatever.
8 years, yeah.
8 years. Just some pretty, and then obviously it was 16 of the last 17 or whatever. No, was that Alabama? Whatever it was, lost a bunch out of the last bunch. And so he goes out here and he says this, and of course I hear it, and I'm like, oh, don't give him bulletin board material. We haven't won in the swamp since 2003. We need this. But then I also think about it. I'm like, yeah, I want this dude who's the quarterback at Tennessee to have this kind of confidence. And I really love it. And hopefully he backs it up.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that people are going to say is, okay, you've just given Florida some bulletin board material. And that's true. If a Florida player had said this, I would have, full transparency, I would have propped it up as, hey, Florida just gave Tennessee, bulletin board material. They gave them motivation for this game. I mean, but that's how it goes in sports. I mean, look at the NFL, the Chiefs and the Bengals. It seems like they never stop going at each other. So it's nothing uncommon. I think it's part of what makes sports fun. It's what makes it compelling. It's what gets fans into it. I don't see any issue with it. At the same time, Tennessee should beat Florida in Gainesville. All things being equal, it doesn't matter that it's Florida and all this stuff that's happened. If you take all that out of the equation, Tennessee has a better roster. They're the program's in a better spot after last season. Billy Napier, they're still trying to figure out, is he the guy? In theory, on paper, motivation shouldn't make a big difference in this game. Tennessee has the scheme. They have the talent. They should be able to go down there and handle business. But like you said, they haven't won there since 2003. They've only beat Florida twice since 2004, and one of those wins came last season. So there is the history there that Milton hasn't quite lived. I mean, you can be told about it. You can show up at Tennessee in 2021, and you can be told, hey, this team hasn't beaten Florida much at all over the last 20 years. In Joe Milton's second year, they beat Florida, and they beat Florida, and he's probably thinking, what's the big deal? Didn't seem like that big of a deal to first home game against them, we get it in. I don't understand, what the fan base is so worried about, but it's different when you live it and you see those losses. You go through Tim Tebow just running over guys.
Few things go better with a Tennessee sports victory than an awesome whiskey. And actually, me and Jonathan Crompton had a drink of whiskey during the postgame show of every football win this past season. And more specifically, we had Rattle and Snap Tennessee Select Straight Whiskey. You can see it right there behind me. Log Still Distillery has released a new Tennessee whiskey product line called Rattle and Snap Tennessee Whiskey, named after a long-forgotten game of chance. Rattle and Snap is a whiskey for those who make their own luck. There's a 4-year and an 8-year version of Rattle and Snap whiskey, and actually, this one behind me is the 4-year version right here. It's perfect for making your favorite whiskey cocktails or just drinking neat. It's really great stuff, and I mean, you can see it there. The bottle looks great. 2, you can find Rattle and Snap right now in stores across Tennessee, and Rattle and Snap is also available in Kentucky, Indiana, and Mississippi. So run, don't walk to get yourself some Rattle and Snap whiskey, and follow Rattle and Snap on Instagram at Rattle and Snap Whiskey. That is Rattle and Snap Tennessee Select Straight Whiskey.